Welcome to this edition of LIMRA Unplugged. I'm Alison, Salka, Head of Research here at LIMRA, and I'm here with Jim Kerley, our Chief Membership Officer. And we're going to talk to you today about 5 proven ways to help people achieve a secure retirement. So most people accept that they have a personal responsibility to save. So what vehicles do they have available? Well, for U.S. workers, the best and easiest, most convenient way to save is through your employer-sponsored retirement plan, a 401k, a 403b. And then for those who don't have access to those plans, some other type of qualified savings account, for example, an IRA, is extremely helpful.
Are people taking advantage of those plans today, Alison?
Yes, statistics show that the majority of people who have access to a retirement plan at work are using it, but you want to make sure that those who aren't are aware of it so that they start saving. So we want to talk about strategies that will help them do this, because payroll deduction is an easy and convenient way to save.
So let me ask you about employees that don't have access to an employer-sponsored plan. What should they be doing?
They have a slightly bigger challenge, but of course they should be saving as well. They just have to take a little more action to do it. So looking into an IRA, for example, a Roth IRA is a great product for someone like that.
So what are some of the strategies that employers are using to make sure that people actually do save through their payroll process?
Well, the single most effective way is automatic enrollment. So employers using automatic enrollment have improved their participation rates by an average of something like 30 percentage points. So usually fewer than 10% of participants opt out of that. And that's especially effective even for groups like younger workers or lower income workers who are traditionally harder to reach or less likely to enroll.
Now, as salaries increase, are there strategies that will allow employers to help their employees automatically save more?
Absolutely. So there's automatic increase in deferral rates or savings rates. So employees can go as high as 10%, actually even more in some cases if they'd like to, and that process can be made automatic as well. We know that people appreciate these benefits and we can quantify. So we know that people who are contributing to a worksite plan, so DC plan participants, are more confident than those who aren't participating that they're going to have a more secure retirement. They're also more likely to know how much they should be saving for retirement, and they're more likely to appreciate these plans as an effective way to save.
So what you're saying then is having a good plan for the future allows consumers to understand what they have to do, actually take action, and be more confident in their savings plan.
Absolutely, which brings us to the next way to help people achieve a secure retirement, which is to provide them access to advice. We know that people, all consumers who get a formal retirement plan, are much more likely to be confident, to be saving more, and to be more ready for retirement, and to be happier with their advisors as well. So I think there's a real opportunity for advisors here in doing a needs assessment and coming up with a formal retirement plan. There's a lot of benefit to getting advice. What are some of the benefits you see of advice?
Well, I think first of all, a well-intended advisor can help his or her client really take action. In fact, those people who get advice are twice as likely to contribute to a retirement plan. So good advice means you save more. 78% versus 41% in terms of savings rates. Pretty substantial. They're more likely to save a larger percentage of their income if they get good advice, because they understand the benefits of saving often and saving more.
And I've heard that that stat is true whether someone makes low income or has higher income. So a lot of times people think that advisors only influence or only serve people with higher incomes, but that effect holds for both groups.
Well, it also speaks to the importance that advisors approach a whole variety of the population, not just the higher income people. The other thing that I think is very striking, when advice is given, savers feel more confident. And isn't that what we're trying to do? Is to help people be confident with the right plan, with the right advice, and saving the right amount of money. That's what retirement planning is all about.
And that's also great customer satisfaction. So that experience has been one that's going to lead to, in addition to that satisfaction, loyalty and referrals.
That's great. Great information. We at LIMRA study behavioral economics a lot, and you certainly are one of the experts on that topic. What are some of the behavioral economic strategies that you think people ought to be taking advantage of, or advisors ought to be taking advantage of, to motivate people to take action?
Well, they should be aware that people are generally risk averse. So, and actually retirees are what we would call hyper risk averse. So understand coming in that people have that particular bias. Also, there's a concept called cognitive fluence. So if you're not familiar with a term, or if a term is longer, and if there's basically that jargon tends to intimidate them and make people less likely to take action. It makes them more hesitant because you're more comfortable and more trusting of words, concepts, and people that you're more familiar with. So as much as you can keep language authentic and discussions more simple using terms that people are used to, that will put people more at ease as well.
So what you're really suggesting is that advisors should speak the customer's language, not their professional language.
Aren't we all more comfortable having a conversation like that? And really, isn't the point of education to be able to impart wisdom? So doing it at the customer's level is certainly gonna help you do that.
When we ask people how much they actually know about their financial well-being or financial literacy, what are the stats, and what are some of the things that we can be doing to help people overcome that lack of understanding?
Well, we know that about 1/3 of consumers fail a basic literacy quiz, so the need for education is out there. And I think there are some basic strategies that are helpful. So the first is to educate early. 24 states have some type of financial literacy requirement for K through 12 education. Perhaps that should be broader, because we know people who get education earlier in life tend to have higher savings rates when they're older.
What about education at work? I know for years and years we've been barraging employees with brochures and literature. Where do we see the use of social media or the use of the internet or intranets for companies to help employees' educational needs?
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest paradoxes, I would say, is that there is so much education and information available, and yet so many people are not knowledgeable. So our own surveys show that I think 4 in 10 consumers are not at all confident that they are knowledgeable about investing and products.
What you said is that there's information available, but people maybe are not taking advantage of that. But what are some of the other strategies that employers are using to get people to understand the whole balance of their life? You know, how to save for retirement, how to take care of yourself, how to be a more holistic planner in your life.
Well, employers are realizing that having workers who are planning for retirement and who are saving for retirement is a good thing, and they're offering more and more tools to their workers. And one trend we're seeing is in financial wellness programs. So more employers are offering financial wellness programs, not just to teach them about investing, but to teach them some of the basics in terms of debt reduction. Because how can you save for retirement if you're still in debt, right? And that's the reason most people say they can't save for retirement, is because they can't afford it. So help them get to a point where they can afford it. And a worksite wellness program is one way to do that. And so we see more employers offering those and more workers taking advantage of them. So hopefully those will have an effect.
I would presume that some of these financial wellness programs are actually addressing the fears that consumers have about their future. Will they have enough money to retire? Are they saving enough?
Not having enough money to retire is one of people's biggest fears. It's always at the top of the list when we're asking particularly pre-retirees. So helping people address those risks is extremely important, and there are a lot of different ways to do that. 2/3 of people have worried that they haven't saved enough, and given the trends towards increasing longevity, that is a legitimate concern. So making it easy for people to save, helping them overcome the fears that they have towards saving or towards even thinking about these issues. Because if you're worried about something, you tend to say, I'll put it off until tomorrow. But having a program at work, having an advisor, these are ways that you can help people overcome those fears and start taking the actions that they know they want. Well, it all boils down to just a few things. You need to get someone enrolled in some type of plan to start saving, deciding how much they need to save and how they're going to be invested. So once you get those 3 tasks taken care of, I think people are going to be in a much better place.
That's great. Well, there are 5 ways to help people save for retirement, and I think we've covered them all.
Yes.
So we'd like to thank you for sharing your time with us today, and we hope that this information is helpful. And come back again soon to listen to our next podcast.
Thank you.